When I was single, I loved traveling a lot. And actually, I was paying my student loans during that time, but I made sure to prioritize traveling because that's just one of the ways that I love to kind of relieve stress. And I also love to explore new places. I like trying new foods. I used to love attending festivals and just trying different cultures and just experiencing a new environment. And I think traveling is really, really important just for educational purposes and also for entertainment purposes as well. I also love that now being a wife and a mom, I get to travel with my husband and also our infant son. We make it work, and it's really great for us to just explore and see the world in different many lenses. It can be something that's about 3 hours away, or maybe something that may require a flight. And so I wanted to share 6 different tips on how you can be able to travel on a budget. You don't have to go broke from traveling, because I know that's something that scares a lot of people is, oh no, I don't have the money, I'd love to travel. So I want to give you some six practical ways that you can be able to prepare yourself to be able to travel and really just explore the world. First, number one, plan in advance. I would highly recommend that because that's when you can be able to find a lot of really good deals on hotels or whatever accommodation you may like to have. You can be able to find really good deals on flights, because if you travel last minute, you're definitely probably going to get the most expensive flight. It's going to be very expensive when it comes to your housing. And so these are things that you should be intentional about in planning in advance. If your trip is in May, start planning as early as February, just so that you can get ahead of the game and also be able to find really, really good deals for where you want to go to. Number two, travel during off season. And so what do I mean by that is, for instance, if you want to go to like Disney World, Disneyland, I'd highly recommend not going there during the summertime. I remember a couple years ago, I went to Essence Festival, which is an amazing festival that's in New Orleans, Louisiana. And when I went there, it was in July that we have this festival. And it was really great, but also I was able to get really good deals. Even though Essence is a big deal, it's not a grander occasion as Mardi Gras is. So going to New Orleans during Mardi Gras time is probably not the wisest time to be there. So I'd recommend going whereby it's, you might find better deals in our accommodations, you might find better flights, the place is not as crowded, and you can be able to get really, really good deals during the off-season time. So that's my recommendation. The third thing I'd say is to use budget-friendly accommodations. And so what does that mean? I'm looking to decide because I took some notes down so that I can be able to be specific on my examples and stay focused on the different things that I want to share with you all. And so the third thing, as I said, is having budget-friendly accommodations. So rather than spending money on expensive hotels, maybe you can do Airbnb. That's a great way, an economically friendly way that you can be able to stay somewhere. So use Airbnb, you can use a hostel. So for instance, when I went on that trip for Essence Festival to New Orleans, I actually stayed at a hostel. And in my hostel, I think there were maybe about 8 women in it. And it was really cool too, because I got to some of my roommates in the same room that we're staying in, somewhere from Europe, different European countries. So that was really neat. And of course, there were some women who were in the United States as well. But that's a really cool thing that you can get to do if you're a single person, or maybe you travel with girlfriends or something like that. And if you're traveling with a family, so for instance, my husband and I, now that we travel with our son, we may get an Airbnb, because rather than staying in a hostel or something like that, that's more of a single woman thing or maybe a girl's trip. And so we get like a nice Airbnb. So we just kind of have our own nice little space, but we're not breaking bank by being in a very expensive hotel. So these are things to think about. There's VRBO out there. So there are many different ways. And you can even do this internationally. Several years ago, I went on a trip with a couple ladies that we all went to the same college together and went to Dominican Republic. And we stayed at an Airbnb, which was a really, really nice house. So that's something that you can also do internationally as well to consider. The fourth thing is, I would say find accommodation downtown or something that's nearby. That's something I'm very intentional about when I travel. For instance, going to Miami, I always choose to stay in a hotel or something that's really close to South Beach. because the advantage of that is that you can be able to just walk to wherever you want to go to. So by staying in South Beach, I can be able to walk to restaurants, I can be able to walk to different activities. The beach is right there, just a few blocks down. So find an accommodation somewhere that to stay whereby it's close to things, so then you can avoid having to have a rental car or maybe having to take some kind of transportation. You just walk to places. That's another way that you can be able to save money that we don't really think about very often. The fifth thing is, I would say, research free and affordable activities. So there can be, if you go to certain places, you can be able to go to like a museum. There's certain festivals that are for free that you can just attend, and you may not need to break bank or spend money at all. And or maybe you can be able to get on Groupon and just look up some activities. I know in the past I've done like sip and paints, I've done like sunset cruises. I remember for our baby moon, my husband and I went to the San Diego Zoo and we're able to get a really good price on Groupon that we're able to do that. And then even with restaurants too, you can be able to find really good affordable deals on restaurants. So make sure you do your research so you can find some really good deals on restaurants, activities, and many different things that you can be able to do that are really, really fun too. And the sixth one is, a lot of people don't think about this much, but it actually really adds up. I would say when you are traveling, make sure to have cash in hand with you. And so what I mean is, for instance, if you have a credit card or debit card or whatever, and you want to withdraw money, and maybe you go to a space whereby they don't have your bank, you're gonna have to pay some ATM fees. And some ATM fees are, $3, $4, something ridiculous. So you may have to do some kind of cash back at a grocery store. So it's highly recommended that you just make sure you plan ahead and carry some cash with you. And that also, you can use that cash for tips. Maybe if you eat out, eating at a different restaurant or something like that, or if you want to tip your rideshare driver or something, that's something that you can be able to have in hand. So I'd recommend maybe have and make sure the cash is broken down. Don't be walking around with like $100. I would not recommend that. Maybe broken down cash whereby it's have some 20s with you, have some 10s with you, some 5s, definitely have some 1s with you. So just broken down cash can be another great way too, because you're not going to spend money on ATM fees because you already have cash with you. You don't have to do any kind of withdrawal from an ATM machine if in case your bank is not around. Or maybe you can research ahead, and if your bank is around, then that's great. Then maybe you can just go to your bank wherever you're traveling to and be able to withdraw money from. But that's something that a lot of people don't think about, how much these ATM fees really, really add up. So in conclusion, I recommend you plan ahead, plan in advance, so you can get all the best discounts in hotels and flights and restaurants or whatever it may be. And also the second one is, make sure to travel during the off season. If it's a place whereby it's really popular during spring break, maybe not go there during spring break time and go there another time that there are not that many people around. And then the third one is, make sure to use budget friendly accommodation such as Airbnb, stay in a hostel. Make sure you're safe, of course. Your safety is really important. Fourth thing is, stay downtown where there's a lot going on, or maybe you're nearby in a downtown area, so a lot of things are going to be walking distance for you. The fifth one is, make sure you research in case there's some free or affordable activities and things that you can be able to do in the area you're traveling to. And then the sixth one is, make sure you carry cash with you so that you can be able to pay things easily, and also you don't have to worry about ATM fees when you want to withdraw money or anything. Have fun.